So today the topic that we're going to look at is factorization. Then under factorization, we're going to look at common factors. So now what we're going to do is we're going to look at the first example under common factor. So this is how the example goes. And we need to find what? The common factor. So we see the fact that the only common factor that we can take out is from the coefficient, which is 6 and 2. Right? So let's do that. To find the factor that we can take out, we need to find the highest common factor. So now we need to find the highest common factor, right? So we're going to take each coefficient and find their factors. Then take another one. Then we're going to look at the ones that are common. And then we're going to take the highest one. So let's look at 6. So it's 6. We have 1 multiplied by 6. Then we have 2 multiplied by 3. Then now for 2, we have 1 multiplied by 2, and these are the only factors. Now, to find the highest common factor, we need to look at the factors for 6 and the factors of 2 and find what their common factor before we find the highest common factor. So we see the fact that 1 and 1 is common. We see that 2 and 2 is common. So now to find the highest common, see highest common factor. So we found the common factors. We need to find the highest common factor. So the highest common factors in our case is going to be what? It's going to be 2, right? So now we know that the highest common factor is equals to 2, right? So now we're going to take that 2. We're going to write it here. Then we're going to open our bracket. Then after opening our bracket, what we need to do is we need to find each term that goes inside the bracket. And to do that, what we'll do is we need to take each term and divide it by the highest common factor. So the first term is 6x squared. So we're going to say 6x squared divided by what? Divided by our highest common factor, which is 2. Then 6 divided by 2 is going to give us 3. Then this 2 is just going to go down, which is going to be x squared. So here, the first term is going to be 3x squared. Right? So now we need to find the term that's going to go here. So we're going to say what? We're going to say negative 2, divided by our highest common factor, which is 2. Then that's going to be equals to negative 1. So the term that's going to come here is going to be negative 1. And this is our final solution. Now let's look at example number 2, right? We have 4x plus 12x squared. Then we need to find the common factor. So first we need to look at what? When finding the common factor, we need to look at the common factors of the coefficient, which is 4 and 12. Then after that, we're going to look at the common factors between x and x squared. But first, let's start with the coefficient, which is 4 and 12. So on the side, let's write the factors of 4. So we know the factors of 4 is 1 multiplied by 4. And the second one is what? 2 multiplied by 2. Right? Now, let's go and find the factors of what? Of 12. So we know that 12, the factors of 12 is going to be 1 multiplied by 12. Then the second one is going to be 2 multiplied by 6. And the last one is going to be 3 multiplied by 4. Then now what we do is we're going to circle the common factors. So the common factors is 1 and 1 here. And the other one is what? 2 and 2 here, right? And we have 4 and 4 here, right? So we have circled the common factors, right? Then now we need to find the highest common factor. And the highest common factor is the one with the big number. The ones from the circle, the one that's large is our highest common factor. So we see that 4 is our highest common factor. So we know that 4 is our what? Our highest common factor. So we're done dealing with the coefficient, right? Now, what we're going to deal with, we're going to deal with the x's, right? So to deal with the x's, let me change the color of my pen so that you guys can see it properly. Let me do it in pink. So we have x and we have x squared. To see which one has, to see our highest common factor, we take the one that has what? The least or the lowest degree. The x value that has the lowest degree, and we see the fact that this is x to the power 1. So here our highest common factor is going to be the one with the less degree, which is going to be just x, right? So now to find our highest common factor for the whole thing, which is I'm going to write in I'm thinking writing it in another color, which is in yellow. Our highest common factor for this whole thing, so our highest common factor is going to be this one multiplied by this one. So it's going to be 4 multiplied by x, which is going to give us 4x. So this is the one that's going to go outside the bracket. That's our highest common factor for this question. So we're going to write 4x here. Then we're going to open a bracket. Then we're going to close a bracket. Then we need to find each term that comes inside the bracket, right? So to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to take each term and divide it by what? Divide it by our common factor, right? The general one. So what we're going to do, we're going to say, I'm going to do it in yellow. We're going to say 4x divided by 4x. 4x divided by 4x is going to be equals to 1. Then we're going to say 12x squared divided by what? By 4x is going to give us what? 3. X squared divided by x is going to be the same as x. So this is the term that's going to go inside. So it's going to be 1 plus 3x. And this is going to be your final answer. So now looking at the third example, it's not always that when we find common factors, we're going to find common factors of the coefficients of the variable. Sometimes we can find common factors within the expression. So we see in our question that a minus 2 is common in each term. We have a minus 2 and a minus 2. So meaning our highest common factor in this case is going to be what? A minus 2, right? So we're going to take that and write it on the side. So it's going to be a minus 2, open bracket. Then we need to find each term that's going to go inside the bracket. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the exact same method that we've been using, take each term divided by the highest common factor. So taking that, we have 5, open bracket, a minus 2. Then we're going to divide it by the highest common factor, which is going to be a minus 2. The a minus 2 are going to cancel out. So what you're going to be left is 5, right? So here you're going to write 5, right? Then here, what we're going to do, we're going to take the second term, which is going to be negative b. Then it's going to be a minus 2 divided by the highest common factor, which is a minus 2. Then the a minus 2 are going to cancel out, so you're going to be left with negative b. So here, what we're going to write is going to be minus b. So this will be your solution. Let me write it properly. It's going to be a minus 2, open bracket, 5 minus b. So this will be your final solution. Let me put it in a bracket like this. So this is how you should write it. So looking at this question, as I told you in example 4, that sometimes we can take out what? We can take out expressions as our common factor. So looking at this one, at first glance, it looks like, oh my God, what is this? There is no common factor. But let's further investigate it. So I'm going to take this expression inside the bracket and I'm going to write it in the side. If we say r minus 1 and we take r and negative 1 plus r. If you look at the 2, if you rearrange this to make r like become first, you'll see something. If we say r minus 1, we see the fact that r minus 1 and r minus 1, this is exactly the same thing. Making r minus 1 what? The common factor, right? So now let's take this because we changed it and substitute it here so that we can have a common factor. So we're going to say equals to a, open bracket, r minus 1 plus 13. Then you're going to replace it with this. You're going to replace this by this. So it's going to be r minus 1. What do we notice? We notice that this question is exactly like our previous question in example 4, right? So if here we take out r minus 1 as our common factor, if we say r minus 1, don't forget your bracket, making this the LCD, sorry, the highest common factor, be r minus 1. So if we're going to take r minus 1, you know the fact that you're going to take the highest common factor outside the bracket, then you're going to open a big bracket, right? Just like this. Then we're going to do what we kept on doing, take each term divided by the highest common factor. So let's do that. You're going to say 2a, open bracket, r minus 1, divided by what? Our highest common factor, which is r minus 1. And the r minus 1s are going to cancel out, so you're going to be left with 2a. So here your answer is going to be 2a. Then you're going to take the second term, which is 13, open bracket, r minus 1, divided by what? Our highest common factor, which is r minus 1. So the r minus 1 are going to cancel out, so you're going to be left with 13. So your answer is going to be plus 13. Let me write it properly. So it's going to be r minus 1, open bracket, 2a plus 13. So this will be your final answer.